Good evening, ladies. How is it going? I hope that you are having a fantastic week. It is Thursday. I am so excited to be here. So if you can hear me, can you give me some hands? Can you let me know that you can hear me all right? That would be fantastic. I see some hands and I see ladies coming on in. Super excited to have you. Oh my gosh. So this is the last webinar in the Confidently Consistent training series. So give me some comments in the chat box and tell me where you are tuning in from. I would also love, if you're cool, I would love for you to comment the one thing that you are really hoping to get out of this training. I'm super excited to get started. I'm just pulling up my slides. So as I am doing that, I want you to comment in the chat box and tell me where you're tuning in from, and tell me the number one thing that you're hoping to get out of this training. Now, the other piece that I like to just get started with from a housekeeping perspective is the chat box. You can send stuff to just me, just to the panelists, or you can send it to panelists and all attendees, which means everybody sees. So whatever you're comfortable with, I just want to make sure that everybody feels included, and whatever you feel comfy with is what I want you to do. And then there is also along the bottom of the video, the Q&A functionality. So what you can do there is you can enter some questions, and I will be answering questions at the very end. So I hope that that is helpful. I just always like to make sure that we are on the same page and that you feel super comfortable with the technology, because I know it can be a little bit difficult. So definitely comment, tell me where you are tuning in from. I'm really excited. I'm going to pull up my slides. So give me just 1 second so that we can go ahead and get started. So let's do this. Share. Let's see here. We will go. Oop, I don't want to jump there. It was going to take me to slide 9. I don't want to start at slide 9. So let's go ahead and get started. So welcome. I'm so excited for you to be here with me tonight. This is the third and final training in the Confidently Consistent live training series. So super excited because today what we are going to focus on is so important. Today we are going to be talking about exactly what you need to be doing, what you need to pay attention to, okay? The things that really matter if you want to go from a woman who is frustrated and feeling like you fail when you go to bed because you can't stick to your healthy eating consistently, to someone who is empowered and feels so comfortable around food that you've got it down, you barely even think about it. So I had originally titled this From Failure to Empowered Eater, and I decided that that was a little bit negative. So I decided to focus on going from frustrated to empowered. So I'm super excited that you're here. Hey, Amy, tuning in from Iowa. Super excited to have you on. I think this is going to be super interesting for you. So I decided to tone it down, but really I keep hearing from women that they feel like they failed. Like fail is this word that I hear all the time when it comes to nutrition, and I want that to stop. So tonight we are talking about how to go from feeling like a failure to feeling empowered when it comes to eating. Oh, thank you, Anita, who is letting me know that you can see side notes. Oh, good. You can see my notes. That makes a ton of sense. I did nothing differently. I have no idea why it would do that. Oh, because it did my whole desktop. Thank you. The tech should be back. Let me know if you can now see just the slides. Good. Thank you, Anita. And you can see that I am blushing because the tech is just so fun. Anyways, I am super excited still, even with the tech issues, to be talking to you about how to go from feeling like a failure to feeling empowered and feeling confident when it comes to food, because I am heartbroken when I hear from women that they're feeling like a failure, because here's the thing, you're not a failure. Let's just get that out of the way. So tonight I am going to be teaching you how to go from feeling like a failure to feeling empowered. And specifically, I want to show you how you can incorporate your favorite foods into your specific healthy eating strategy without feeling crazy guilty and without sabotaging your results. So many women are scared to incorporate the foods that they love into their diet because they're afraid that they're going to overdo it. But here's the thing. You don't have to overdo it. You don't have to feel afraid, because tonight I'm going to teach you the things that matter to being able to stay really, truly consistent and to build out a healthy eating strategy that's going to work for you forever. So we are done with these 8-week diet challenges. We are done with the 72-hour cleanses. We are talking about forever empowered eating. And so my goal is that by the end of this training, you are going to understand the exact components that matter to a healthy eating strategy that's sustainable. And you're going to have a couple of action items to take with you to get you started right away. And if that happens, I am going to call this training a success. So of course, I would really love for you to stay to the end, because when you stay to the end, you're going to get access to all of the 6 elements that we're going to talk about that are imperative to creating your customized healthy eating strategy. And I do have some bonus information and an awesome opportunity for you at the end of this training. So super excited. Definitely stick around. It's going to be really, really important to stay with me. So does that sound good? Can I get some hands? Are you going to stick around? You're going to hang with me? I'm going to see some hands coming up. Yes. Thank you. I am stoked to have you stick around with me. We're going to have a good time. So I hope you have a beverage, depending on where you are, something to sip on. I also would love for you to have a journal and a pen, because this training is actually, I'm going to be asking you to think about specific things that you can take with you. So I want to make sure that you have something that you can write that down with. So awesome. For those of you who don't know me, I want to just take a quick moment to introduce myself. My name is Catherine Edgecombe, and I am an anti-perfect lifestyle coach, and I help type A perfectionist women end this all or nothing mindset trap that leaves them feeling like failures, so that they can get really, truly consistent with their healthy eating and their fitness. And I do this through my 4R method. And it's so, so important to me to help women live their very best lives, because exercise and food should be 2 components, but not the entire thing. They should be just small components of your life. And if they are taking up so much time and mental energy, it doesn't have to be that way. So I am a National Academy of Sports Medicine certified personal trainer, a precision nutrition L1 coach, but more importantly, I am a lifelong recovering perfectionist. So for me, this stuff has been part of me since I was yay big. I have always aimed for perfection. I was the 8-year-old in the back of the classroom raising her hand, telling the teacher that she forgot to assign us homework. And I did my absolute best to be perfect at everything I did. This manifested in a number of ways that were both positive and negative over the course of my life. They helped me get perfect grades, graduate college in 3 years with a 4.0 and 2 majors. But it also led to a debilitating eating disorder that took over my life for all of my teens. It was diagnosed when I was 13 and most of my early 20s. So I share that with you just for context, because this isn't a story about disordered eating. My big struggle to get this stuff under control actually happened after I had recovered from my eating disorder. So it was a couple years after I had kind of finished dealing with my most brutal relapse in my eating disorder. And I started finding myself, even though everything was healthy, like physiologically, and I was pretty much not doing any of those behaviors anymore, I was still struck with this desire to have that perfect body, which made it really hard for me to find ease around food and exercise. I was still dealing with so many of these thoughts that I'm hearing from so many women today. I felt like I was a failure when I would go to bed after overdoing it on Thursday nights. I would sit on my computer and try to seek out the most difficult workout videos that were available on the interwebs. And I would do them every single day. I couldn't take a rest day because I was too scared of gaining weight. I was too afraid of not following a workout plan perfectly. I would look in the mirror and be so disgusted by my body because it wasn't changing. No matter what I did, no matter how I ate, how I trained, everything looked the same. So that was super frustrating. But more than that, I was thinking about food and exercise so dang much that it made it really hard for me to be present with those in my life. And the truth is, I was just talking to a girlfriend about this morning, is that I kept struggling until I started figuring out how to use my perfectionism, my drive, that intensity about me that had sent me off the rails, that had sent me into this eating disorder, right? Until I learned to leverage that and embrace it for good, I continued to struggle. When I learned to use my perfectionism to my advantage and embraced this, what I call an anti-perfect lifestyle, I got to a place where food and exercise were just part of my life. I didn't think about it very much. I don't stress if I miss a workout. I'm way more confident than I was 10 pounds lighter than I am right now. And I actually got to a place where I appreciated and started loving my imperfections. So it is so important to me to teach women to stop trying to fight the thing that they think is so bad about themselves. Because it's when we lean into it, it's when we start recognizing that it can be our biggest, greatest strength, that we start making serious strides towards our goals. My mission is to help you get consistent with healthy eating and exercise so that you can stop spending so much time thinking about what you last ate or when your next workout is going to be, instead living your anti-perfect lifestyle. I am so excited to be here with you tonight. This training is probably my favorite because it is really, really interactive. So I'm super excited to be here with you tonight to talk about creating your healthy eating strategy that works for you and that, of course, includes your favorite foods. So I do always like to make it very clear as a coach, I don't think you should ever invest in or work with anyone who hasn't been through the trenches, been in, I think that's right, been in the trenches with you. And when I say I get it, you can believe me. I lived in this space for years of trying to do it perfectly and failing every single Thursday. I would follow a low-calorie, healthy eating plan where I basically ate egg whites and vegetables for breakfast, a dry salad with chicken breast for lunch, a protein, a vegetable, and a carb for dinner, and some Greek yogurt before I went to bed. I did that on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday rolled around. I was so sick of what I was eating that I got to dinner and couldn't take it anymore. So instead of sticking to my eating plan and making it till Friday, like I hear so many ladies say that I can get through the week, but by the weekend, I can't do it anymore. I couldn't even make it to the weekend. I couldn't even make it through Thursday. So I get it. I've been there. I've been exactly in your shoes, trying so damn hard to eat and exercise perfectly and seeing zero results, thinking about it all the time, beating yourself up for overdoing it, and looking in the mirror feeling frustrated because you know that this is not where you want your life to be. I get it. So the reason that we're here tonight is that it took me years to get to this place. It took me, those pictures were taken in January of 2015. So probably 4 years to get to this new space. I was struggling hard to make it through Thursday night without binging on Mike's Harder lemonade and sweet potato fries. I would force myself to run for miles and miles and then mess up and eat a ton of froyo, go to bed feeling like I had failed. But I am here to tell you it does not have to be that way. I found a way of eating and a way to track yourself as you eat that is going to revolutionize your ability to stay consistent. And it is going to completely change the way that you think about healthy eating. So tonight, I'm going to walk you through that healthy eating model so that you can apply it to your own life. So the reason that I'm so passionate about this is that I saw a huge void in the health and fitness space where people were not talking about all the things that play into our ability to stay consistent. And so I am excited to share all of that with you tonight. Can you tell me in the chat box, is this good stuff? Are you ready to keep going? You want to hear all of these secrets that I have found to really create a healthy eating strategy that works for you long term? Give me some hands, type me some yeses, tell me that you are excited to check all of this out, because I am really excited and I am seeing all these hands going up. So thank you, thank you. So I'm gonna take a sip of water. I want you to grab your notebook and a pen. I would prefer not your cell phone because it's way too easy to get distracted. Grab a notebook and a pen because we're actually gonna get into this workshop portion of tonight. All right. Fantastic. So tonight we are going to be talking about the nutrition model that I have created to help my clients do two things. Number one, to help them be absolutely 100% certain when they're making eating decisions that they are working for them. And number two, it helps build their confidence around food so that they no longer go to bed beating up on themselves. So I honestly believe that other nutrition coaches, lifestyle coaches, whatever you want to call us, focus too much on information. What you should eat, what foods, what's a serving size. And I have found that so many other nutrition coaches and programs completely ignore implementation, but more than that, they ignore the way that food makes us feel and the way that we think about food. When I think back to the first year of my coaching women online back in 2000, I did my first coaching program in fall of 2016. I was guilty of that as well. So I want to give you an example that you may be familiar with, which is Metabolic Effects HEC model. Now, this model is great. I think it's really a great place to start because what it focuses on, if you're not familiar, is it tells you to tune into your H, hunger, E, energy, and C, cravings. Because by tuning into those things, and if you're making sure that your hunger is low, your energy is high, and your cravings are low, you actually improve your chances for hormonal fat loss. So a fat loss that is actually healthy, and it's your body getting to its optimal state. So not forcing your body into fat loss, but fat loss in a sustainable way. However, HEC completely ignores where our heads are at, which leads to restriction, obsession, and even binging. So if you've been following some of these models or you've tried different diets in the past, I'm here to tell you that it is not your fault that you're struggling, because there is not enough focus placed on everything above the neck. It's just focused on your physical body. And I think that there is so much more to the why we eat the way that we do. So I felt as a coach compelled to create a new nutrition framework to help you automate your eating so that you can become a master of your healthy eating strategy. So tonight, what I'm going to do is walk you through my Master Your Eating model so that you have a way to measure yourself and determine if food choices are working for you. I feel like other coaches will tell you, figure out if it's working. Like if you are able to eat something and tolerate it, then great. But they don't give you the check boxes. They don't tell you what exactly to tune into in order to be certain that something's working for you or not. I was watching Joe Coleman's Instagram stories today. It was on her Moderation 365 account, and she was making comments around like, you should never compare two people's diets because somebody may do really well on low fat, somebody might do really well on high fat, and if it's working for them, you can't compare. And as I'm sitting there and listening and I'm saying, yes, I agree, like that's true, but how do you expect other people, especially perfectionists, to be able to know with certainty if something is working for them unless you give them a tool to measure? We wouldn't expect somebody to go out and build a house or do some sort of home improvement project without giving them a ruler. So Master Your Eating is my ruler that I give to all of my clients to help them better understand if nutrition changes are working for them. So if I'm ever asked, is this too high carb? I point them right back to their master, because I don't care, honestly, what the optimal science says about this stuff. If your master is not in check, you will not be able to sustain it for long enough to reap the results of eating that way. Does this make sense? Can you give me some hands and let me know if this resonates? I just felt like there was not enough information around how to figure out if something's actually working for you. Because the problem is not you, the problem is all of this information. So now what I would like to do is walk you through each element of the Master Your Eating model. And this is where you should take some notes and start thinking about which element, because that's what I want you to definitely think about, is which element of the 6 is giving you the most trouble right now. And we'll have a special bonus for you at the end. All right? So up first is mindset. Because if you are not paying attention to the way you're thinking about food, you're just going to continue to use the same damn patterns. Understanding how your thoughts dictate your actions or inactions is really critical to long-term success. And I find that most coaches and nutrition programs skip over this component. And that is why I teach my clients to pay attention to this first. This is why the M is first. It's not just a cutesy acronym. It's because if we don't pay attention to what our brains are telling us, what we're feeling around food, we will not make progress. So I know that this can be really tricky, and that is why I'm going to ask you some questions and help you think about it for yourself. Okay? So before diving into nutrition from a physical health perspective, again, this is like heck, we have to tackle how food is impacting your emotional health. For me, and the way that I teach my clients, mindset is about your attitude around food. So this is different than the thoughts that you have around food, but it's more how are you feeling and how are you experiencing food? So some of the questions, and these are the questions I want you to write down or take a screenshot so that you can reflect on this, is how does food make you feel? What emotions surround eating or particular foods? Ideally, you're at a place where you're neutral or positive. If not, that is a sign to me as your coach that we have to tweak something, right? We want to make sure that we're tweaking based off of those things. If you are saying, well, Catherine, how am I supposed to incorporate my favorite foods? I love ice cream, but every time that I eat ice cream, I feel like shit about myself. Ice cream is probably not the problem, love. The problem has to do with something else that's going on. And by seeing that your mindset around food is negative, we know that we'll have to troubleshoot. So I know that self-awareness is great, right? You're like, okay, Catherine, my mindset is off. What do I do about that? My best friend and I always joke that like self-awareness is great, but what the hell do we do with it, right? And this is why coaching is so profound, because you're able to work with someone who can help you probe a little bit deeper and figure out exactly what is going on. More than anything, what I want you to take away from this is it's time to start paying attention to how you feel around food, not physically, but how you're feeling. What emotions are coming up? Are they positive? Are they negative? Does it change one day to another? Does it change over the course of the day? Is it tied to specific eating events? I know I've got clients on here, and I know that that is still something that we're working through, where it's tied to specific eating events, or is it tied to particular foods? Take those notes, because that is one of the things we'll need to start troubleshooting. Does that make sense? Give me some hands. All right, cool. Up next, I have a really simple question for you. How hungry are you? Up next, after mindset, we have to pay attention to our appetite. And we have to pay attention to it, understanding that it's going to wax and wane, go up and down. So we have to pay attention to what your appetite is doing throughout the day and the week. This question tells us so freaking much. So we have to dive into how, when your hunger levels change, how intense they are, how long does hunger last? How full do you feel? I think it's hunger and fullness. And that's why I just talk about appetite, because it's both of those things. If your appetite is non-existent, crazy high, we probably need to fix something with your nutrition. So to give you an example and a question that very often comes up with my clients when I start walking them through Master is, what happens if I'm not feeling hungry? I just did in beginning of January, December, I did the Imperfectly Consistent Challenge. And one of the things that I asked the ladies to do, it's a great exercise if you want to test it out, is to pick a meal and wait until you're hungry and sit with feeling hungry for about 30 minutes. Pay attention to a lot of things, right? You want to pay attention to your entire Master, but pay attention to what thoughts are coming up, how you're feeling, what the experience is like, and then also, of course, pay attention to how that impacts your food choices. But if you're not feeling hungry, if you're like, Catherine, this isn't going to work for me because I'm not feeling hungry, that is a sign that we really urgently need to figure out what's going on with your nutrition. Because when we stop having an appetite, that is usually a signal that we have been under eating for a long period of time. And it also very often means that we have been so disconnected from our bodies that we've failed to recognize that hunger and appetite are a scale. Sometimes it's really intense. Sometimes it's a very slight thing, and each person feels hunger differently. So if you're saying, Catherine, this appetite thing is going to be really hard for me, that's actually a sign that we really got to figure out where something is off here. Because you should be able to, and eventually you will be able to get to a place where you recognize the different levels of hungry. Just like you recognize when you kind of have to pee and you know that within the next hour or so you should find a bathroom. That's kind of how we want to get to with our appetite. We want to be able to say, just like I am, it's 5:30, I'm getting a little hungry, I should probably eat within the next 90 minutes. There's no anxiety, there's no fear, it's just recognizing that information. When we've dieted for so long, we sometimes are scared of feeling hungry, when this is such an awesome opportunity to learn more about what's going on with your relationship with food, and also figure out potentially where we should make changes in your diet to balance out your appetite. So, screenshot, write these questions down because we're moving on to the third element, which is super juicy. Okay, so your mindset is neutral or positive around food. Your appetite is pretty stable. You recognize that it comes and goes throughout the day. But how satisfied are you by your food choices? If your meals are not satisfying, and as soon as you put down your fork, wash your plate and your utensils, you're already craving your next meal, your next snack, your next treat, something, Levy, is off in your diet. Because the goal that I hear over and over is, I just want to think about food less. Like, I just want to be able to eat normally, get on with my life, see changes in my body, and just stick with it. If we're not satisfied with the way that we eat, we don't like the foods that we're eating, what happens is that when we're bored, we're stressed out, we're tired, we end up experiencing severe cravings. And when we start feeling those extreme cravings, what happens? We overdo it. And what happens when we overdo it? If you're like me, you're in the bathroom on Saturday morning holding your PJ shirt up, looking at your tummy and pinching the fat on your stomach because you're so damn guilty. This is not where we want to be. This is not going to help us in the long term. Instead, we want to start considering your satisfaction level throughout the day, the week, and keep tabs on it. If you find that you are constantly craving sugar, that is a great signal that we got to tweak some things. So I want to give you an example of one of my amazing clients named Chrissy. I'm going to talk a little bit about Chrissy later on, but I want to talk about Chrissy because when she came to me, satisfaction was kind of off. We found Chrissy is a busy mom, a full-time teacher. She is always on the go. And when we did a 3-day diet log review, we looked at what she was eating. We found that around 2 p.m., most days of the week, she would find herself snacking on like the fun size candies that were in the office at her school, and she had some candy in her classroom. She found herself snacking on those things most afternoons. So what we found with Chrissy is by making a few tweaks to the things that she was eating early in the morning and at lunch, her cravings disappeared. Now, you know, I am not about telling you that having cravings is bad, right? We talked about that earlier this week. But if we can get to a place where your satisfaction is stable and the cravings are not intense, it's a lot easier. Cravings are a nice, like, hand up, white flag that something needs to be examined a little bit more closely. And with Chrissy, we did just that. We noticed that she was having pretty consistent cravings around a similar time of the day. We made some tweaks to her nutrition earlier in the day and found that she no longer needed sugar in the afternoon. So I like to share that story because I just want you to know there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that we probably need to do some troubleshooting. So I hope that that's helpful. I'm gonna take a sip of water. I feel like I'm like super thirsty today. But satisfaction is super important. So the questions that I also want you to think about is, what are the types of treats that you're craving? What are you craving for? Because that can give us a lot of information as we're troubleshooting around potential deficiencies, some of your trigger foods, and all of that is information that we can use to create your specific healthy eating strategy that is customized to you. All right, so we've talked about your mindset, your appetite, your satisfaction. Next up is your thoughts. In order to be 100% certain that you're making the right nutrition decisions, your thoughts have to be in check. If you're stressing, obsessing, thinking about food all the time, this is not the right plan for you. It is so important because I know we've talked about mindset already, and this is similar, but more specifically, it's time to really tune into the thoughts that are coming up and the stories that you're telling yourself around food. Because if the way you're eating is causing you to live in a world where you're always thinking about food and the next choice, we can't sustain it. So it's really important, if long-term, automated, consistent eating is your goal, to not be obsessing over food. So some of the questions to ask yourself are, what are the thoughts specifically that are coming up? One of the exercises I will have my clients do, especially at the beginning of working with me, is to keep a thought log. So before they go to bed and when they wake up in the morning, I want them dumping out all the thoughts that are coming up for them. And as you're looking at that list of thoughts, try to unpack, are they restrictive? Are they negative? Or are they supportive? Are they helping you closer to your goals? And I also want you to pay attention to how those thoughts are affecting your behavior. So I want to give you another example because I think the examples are helpful. Tracking macros. This is a huge trend, and it's honestly, to be real with you, something that I've done at multiple periods throughout my eating journey, whether in healthy ways or not so healthy ways. But the most important thing, if you're wondering, is something like this going to work for me? What's it doing to your thoughts and your mindset? If you're someone who can log your macros objectively, you don't think about it emotionally, you don't get dragged down, and you're not having obsessive ruminating thoughts, then you're probably fine. But if you're like most of my clients, and to be honest with you, me, a lot of the time, when I start trying to track macros, I get my perfectionist comes out rearing her ugly head and is just like to the gram wanting everything to line up perfectly. So that's a sign that even though tracking macros might help you from a physical health perspective, it's not going to be something that you can sustain long term because it's getting other elements of your master completely out of whack. So I hope does that make sense? Does that resonate? I think there's so many ways to eat healthy. My clients eat very differently than I do, and that's totally okay. Because what matters is keeping your master in line. What matters is keeping all of these elements working for you. So, mindset, appetite, satisfaction, thoughts, and energy. This one I did steal from Metabolic Effects Heck, but your energy does need to be stable throughout the day. If you are hitting a wall at 3 p.m., that's not normal. If you are not able to make it through your day without 4 or 5 cups of coffee, that's not good. That is telling us that something is off, because sustainable nutrition fuels your body with energy throughout the day. So if your energy is all over the place or just plain low, we might need to dig a little deeper and figure out what is going on. Now, energy is for me one of those components that reminds me the importance of whole woman coaching. Because if your energy is off, it could be related to so many things. It might not just be your nutrition. It could be your workout program. It could be stress. It could be hormones. It could be self-care related. So we have to make sure that we're looking at each component, and that is why I coach the whole woman. I don't just coach nutrition. It's so much more than that. Some questions to get you started are, how stable are your energy levels throughout the day? And I give you a few examples of things that clients have told me that they deal with. They're always tired, they're hitting a wall at a certain day, or their energy tends to fade at a standard time every single day. We can make some tweaks, and that can generally help. It could be just so many different things. I can't make really specific recommendations around, like, if your energy is low, do this. because there are so many components that play into it, right? So I just want to caveat that and say, like, whole woman coaching is definitely required here. So last up, we've talked about mindset, appetite, satisfaction, thoughts, energy, and restriction. So in some ways, we're kind of back where we started. Restriction could be synonymous for perfectionism, but MASTIP is not a thing. So we're talking about restriction, because when it comes to nutrition, we do not ever want to feel like we are restricting, holding ourselves back in this place where we're just like not allowing ourselves to eat the things that we want to consistently. However, this is what I was mentioning earlier about being able to recognize that noticing that you're restricting, noticing that you're trying to do this stuff perfectly is actually so helpful. Restriction can be an incredible warning sign that something else is off with one of the 3 key relationships that play into whole woman coaching: your relationship with food, your relationship with fitness, or your relationship with yourself. So if you're going through the week and you're feeling really deprived, you're feeling like, oh my goodness, I just want to eat XYZ food, don't beat yourself up. Instead, look at it as a tool. Because yes, your macros count. Yes, nutrient timing is really it's helpful, it's important. And of course, you have to make sure that energy balance is right. You know, you're not eating way more than your body needs. But if you don't also keep your mindset, your thoughts, and your restriction in check, Levy, you're just going to keep struggling. So instead, I want you to start thinking about these questions. Are you restricting certain foods, alcohol, trigger foods? Are you going from this deprived to binge cycle? Are you trying to get yourself out of this food and fitness punishment cycle where you're eating something and then working it all off, and then eating something and then working it all off? Those could be good signals that something is off. Is this good stuff? Give me hands. I know you're on there. I just am hoping you're not like asleep. I see. Okay, thank you for the hands. All right, I want you to take a minute and write down the number one thing that you've realized from your master that is out of whack. Which area needs some troubleshooting? Because this is where you want to focus your energy for the next week. And I want you to be really clear on that. All right, so I'm seeing energy is coming up. Yeah, I think so. And I think that, Jen, there's a lot going into that. So we can play around with it for sure. But I want you to take note of what that is. Mindset. Yes. Amy, yes. Mindset is huge. And it's so amazing that you're recognizing that, because here's the thing. Recognizing it and being aware of it, girl, you are ahead of 99% of the population, because so many of us just go through our lives and we don't think about this stuff at all. We just recognize that we keep messing up. So amazing that you're recognizing this. So, all right, now I know you've got all this stuff to think about. You're like, okay, there's all these things and there's 6 components, and how do I do it? Now that you have your focus area, stop. Okay, stop. I don't want you running to Google, searching out best diet to manage energy. Best diet to manage, Anita says her thoughts. Stop, okay, stop. Stop searching for the next best thing, because new info is not your solution. That is actually what is paralyzing you and keeping you feeling like you're failing. I wanted to just share, I didn't put it up there and I actually should have, a quote from one of my former clients named Terry. And I checked in with Terry a little while ago, a couple months ago now, and was asking her how things were going. And here's what she had to say. By taking a break from following really specific eating and exercise plans, it has given me the chance to really understand what I need. Being a perfectionist, always talking about nutrition and working out and seeking out this information, was causing me to overthink everything. Friggin' men. Like, how much does that just like resonate with you of like, yes, that is me. I am always trying to figure this stuff out, and it is making me crazy. So don't seek out new information. That is just going to make this harder. And so many people think that simply counting or tracking macros, giving yourself treats, or like fitting everything that you love into your diet is enough. But Lovey, it's not. A nutrition and fitness program is not going to help. When I first started trying to figure out my body, my nutrition, when I was this woman, I decided to sign up for an online nutrition and workout program. This was my first experience with the online space, and I was so excited. I was thinking, this is going to help me finally get this stuff under control. I took these progress pictures. I don't know if these are the same day. They might not be. But I took these progress pictures so ready to get started and to see these changes and to change my life and to finally get consistent and to change my body. I was so ready, right? I signed up for this, I think it was an 8-week program. And I got the nutrition guide. And I remember reading the nutrition guide, and it said things like, eat 2 to 3 servings of vegetables at every meal and snack. Okay, not bad advice, right? Eat protein at every meal and snack. Cool. That's basically my protein and produce first hashtag. And then I got down to where it said, you get 1 off-plan meal a week. You can drink alcohol, try to limit it. I think it said try to eliminate it. I should see if I can find that PDF. Try to eliminate alcohol or drink it at max 1 to 2 times per month. As I'm like reading through this, I feel myself like shrinking into myself. Like my anxiety is through the roof. I'm like, how the hell am I going to do this perfectly? But I go in and I try. 4 weeks in, I remember, and some of you have heard me tell this story. I think it was a Wednesday. So it was a Wednesday afternoon, right? And I had said, usually I could make it to Thursday. So it was a Wednesday afternoon. I was still like white knuckling my way through the week. I knew I wasn't supposed to drink alcohol. My boyfriend at the time walked in as I was cooking dinner. I was cooking stir fry. He walked in, he grabbed himself a Lagunitas out of the fridge, stood next to me cooking, opened the beer, took a sip. And I just remember vividly standing at my stove, looking at this man who just was able to, with such ease, make that choice, right? Just be able to say, I want a beer. Cool, I'm going to have a beer, no guilt. I was going back and forth in my head. I want some wine. I want a Mike's Harbor, but I can't. I'm not supposed to. I shouldn't be doing this. It's Wednesday. I'm not supposed to have alcohol 1 to 2 times a month, 1 to 2 times a month, to the point where I'm standing there cooking and like tears just start streaming down my face, because even just having those thoughts made me feel like a failure. It made me feel like I was never going to get out of that place. I felt trapped. I felt miserable and so guilty. Because again, here's the thing. Another food and exercise program is not your solution. It is not going to help you. The average person spends almost $112,000 USD in their lifetime on nutrition and fitness. It is a massive freaking industry. People spend so much money on workout plans, specific meal plans that you plug in your numbers and it like spits out what exactly you should eat. Supplements are huge, right? So much money. So it makes sense that everyone is trying to market this like, follow this plan and do this and you will feel confident, or do these workouts, they will change your body forever. But it's not that simple. Because I told you what happened when I tried that. And and you have told me, and I know that you're sitting there saying, yeah, I get it, because I've spent so much money on exercise and food. But that hasn't gotten you where you want to be, right? You can get there. I promise you. Because that girl that you just saw in 2015 is not me today. By implementing my Master Your Eating model and a lot of mindset work and personal development, I have completely changed my life. I am at ease with food and exercise. I haven't worked out for longer than 45 minutes outside of my hot yoga classes in like 3 years. I have a protein cookie, usually a protein cookie and chocolate, or alcohol and chocolate or a protein cookie every single day. I know what I need to eat to feel energized in my body. I sleep soundly at night. I'm able to go on vacation without falling off track. And I also work a full-time job, which I always just like to kind of remind, like I work a full-time job, I run a business, and I still have free time to watch my favorite show. I need to update this damn slide because I'm done with Scandal and I'm back to watching Gilmore Girls from season 3 onwards. And it's possible for you too. Does that sound like where you would want to be? Is this what you want your life to look like? Give me some hands. Send me some yeses. I'm seeing hands going up, which makes me so happy. But my guess is that that's not where you are right now. You say that that's what you want, but I'm going to bet your reality is a little bit more like having a really tough time staying consistent with your healthy eating and exercise, even though you think about it a lot. You might be trying to follow a nutrition plan perfectly because you're afraid that if you eat one thing that's not on plan, you can't get back on. Being told that my slide perspective is off. And you're feeling maybe like you have to be perfect and get super discouraged when you're not. So you end up overeating an entire damn plate of cookies, even though you know that that's not in line with your goals or your results that you want to see. You're also probably feeling a little bit frustrated because you've been doing the same sort of workout and nutrition programs over and over, and they're just not getting you where you want to be. So tonight I have an incredible opportunity for you because I have, the slides say 3, but I actually have 2 spots left for Effortlessly Consistent Coaching, which is my 4-month whole woman coaching program to help you get consistent, find ease with food, and more than anything, see your very best life. I created this program because I know that getting off of that diet and exercise roller coaster can be really, really tough. And it's even more challenging to sustain living in that place where your eating is effortless and automated. Even when we try to eat intuitively or practice moderation, it takes a ton of mental effort and we're still not even sure that we're doing it right. So I created this program because I don't see other programs out there that tackle every component of what's keeping you inconsistent. Effortlessly Consistent is whole woman coaching, and it is nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and mindset coaching from every single angle. I can't even, I'm having some of my amazing clients are saying they're so excited to get started, and it warms my heart. I can't even call it nutrition coaching because it's not. It is so much more than that. Sure, we talk about nutrition, but the whole goal is getting you to a place where healthy living is effortless to maintain because consistency is second nature. You don't feel deprived, you're more accepting of yourself, and you go to bed feeling like you achieved something instead of feeling like you failed. This is what will allow you to live your very best life because you're not spending mental energy trying to get through the week. You're spending energy on the things that really truly matter to you. So by June, if you were to sign up for Effortlessly Consistent, you will finally get consistent with your eating and your training without overthinking it. You will know exactly what you should be doing for your body without second guessing yourself. You're going to learn practical strategies that are going to help you stop binge eating, because I know it can be overwhelming to try. You're going to not be beating yourself up every time that you slip up. You're going to get out of that food and fitness punishment cycle. So no more endless cardio to try to burn off your calories. You're also going to learn how to get yourself back on track immediately. So you don't have to be scared of overdoing it one night, because you know what you'll need to do the next morning to just get right back on that horse. And one of my favorite benefits of this program is that you're going to wake up in the morning confident, because you just know what to do. And I know this sounds like, oh my gosh, Catherine, this is too good to be true. You just told me the fitness industry is huge. How is this different? Oh, maybe I should have hit the how. This is different because my 4R method ensures that you get to where you want to be. This is not just another coaching program. I have a specific method that I use with all of my clients to ensure them success. What this method does is it, number one, gives my lovely perfectionists something that they can track themselves against to make sure that they're progressing and moving forward. Granted, progression is not always linear. It goes back, forth, but you know how to keep track of that. It allows for personalization based off of where you're at, what you need, and how you need me to coach you. And it also helps you keep me accountable. So it makes sure that you know I'm doing my job, because you know how I'm going to be coaching you, the types of things I'm going to be asking, how we're going to be paying attention to different thoughts, behaviors, triggers. And I created this method after working with dozens of women one-on-one in the last 2.5 years. And also, I have my own experience of what it took me to go from that girl in 2015 to the woman that I am now. With a lot of work, I've distilled it down into this 4R method, and I'd like to just tell you a little bit about it. Up first is the reality check phase, because it's really important that we get very real on how things are going. It's time to get honest so that we can identify the real issues holding you back. So often we sign up for those nutrition and fitness programs, but they're too surface level. And that's why we keep having a hard time. I want to give you an example. One of my incredible clients came to me and she was scared to take days off of working out. Now, I respect coaches so much, and I know that most of them will ask why, right? They'll say, well, why are you afraid of taking a day off? You say, well, I'm worried I'm going to gain weight. The coach will tell you, no, that's scientifically, that's not going to work. Like, that's not going to happen. You don't have to worry about it. Whatever. You're fine. And that's where most people will leave it. I dig deeper. I'm going to ask you, well, why are you afraid of gaining weight? What does it feel like for you when you take those days off? What are the thoughts that come up on your off day? This, Lovey, is what reality check looks like in the most loving way possible. If you've coached with me at all, if you know me at all, I am where you are. I won't push you harder than you can go, but I will challenge you to think about things differently, because that's what's needed to change your life. Once we've gotten real, we work to understand and appreciate your perfectionism, your restriction, the things that have historically held you back. Because once we figured out, okay, maybe you're having a harder time with your relationship with yourself. Like, maybe food and fitness are secondary and there's just a lot of like inner confidence work that we need to do. We'll focus on rebuilding the relationships that really need some TLC. I want to call out that this looks really different for different women. And this phase can take longer than 6 to 8 weeks, depending on your history with food and exercise. During the rebuild phase, we focus on things like learning to process your perfectionist thoughts so that they don't derail you. So no more falling off the wagon because you ate one cookie. We also, on the nutrition side, really start to look at master. We start to look at specifically the mindset and thoughts components. Sure, I do start you with sample meal plans just so you have some sort of structure to follow. But in this phase, I'm pushing you to really pay attention to your hunger, learn what your body is telling you. So you don't need custom macros. You don't need that meal plan. You know what? You tune into your body instead. This does tend to be the meatiest phase of the program. And what makes the 4-hour method so incredible is if you need more time, we'll take it. This is completely customized to you. Once we've rebuilt those relationships, we can start pushing those boundaries and start to take your life back from after spending all of that mental energy on food and exercise. Now that you've rebuilt those relationships, you can learn to embrace perfectionism and take it farther. This is when we start focusing on the non-standard eating scenarios. So if you were on the webinar on, is it Monday? Tuesday? It was Monday. We were talking about the 80-20 rule and making sure that you're focusing and doing work on the right things. And so in Reclaim, we really start to focus on the non-standard scenarios, because I hear from women that there are certain scenarios, whether it's vacations or dinners out with friends, that create a lot of anxiety. So this is when we start really thinking about those and coming up with your specific plan to handle them. In Rebuild, right, we're focusing more on the 80%. We're focusing on the standards so that you can automate the shit out of it and not worry about it, and then spend your mental energy on pushing those boundaries so you can take vacation, take a long weekend, and not stress about it. Of course, in Rebuild, we will go through those scenarios as they come up, but in the Reclaim phase, we start creating the lasting strategies that you can rinse and repeat and use moving forward long after the program ends. At the end of the program, we jump into the Radiate phase. And this is when we get to work together to start to really design that blueprint for your best life. We will build out a consistency blueprint that is customized and created by you, so you know what you're doing moving forward. You will be so confident in your ability and know yourself so well that you will be able to weather any situation with consistency. Now, because I know I've got a lot of perfectionists on the call, I like to show you that I have a plan. I have a strategy. I have so many things that we can and we do talk about that we work through together over the course of the program. But I drip feed this to you because we've talked about the fact that information overload is a thing, and it is keeping us from being consistent. So I will give you these different tools, strategies, as you need them. I just want you to know that I'm here for you always, and I will be supporting you the entire way. How does this sound? Does this sound good? Like, give me some hands. I want to see some yeses. Does this sound like good stuff? I am seeing, yay. The hands make me so happy. But I don't want you to take it from me. I want you to take it from my incredible client, Brooke, who had this to say. I can honestly say that investing in coaching and investing in myself, finally, instead of just another short-term workout or nutrition program, was one of the best decisions I have ever made. Catherine is absolutely fantastic at what she does, and as long as you're willing to put in the work on your end, you have the opportunity to completely change your life. And that's what we want, isn't it? So I want to just recap what you get within this program. You get 4 months of one-on-one whole woman coaching using my exclusive 4-hour method. I'm going to give you a detailed welcome packet so that we can get right down to business, know where we have to focus. You'll get a 60-minute jumpstart call with me to come up with our game plan, walk through your welcome packet, make sure we get to know each other really well. And then moving forward, you have bi-weekly 30-minute coaching calls with me to touch base, troubleshoot, keep you accountable, and strategize what's going on. You will also get unlimited text and email access so that you never feel alone on this journey. And you already saw the robust curriculum that's within this program. So I will send you downloadable checklists, worksheets, and all kinds of information so that you always can refer back to what we talked about. But that's not it. Even though there's this value of almost $6,000, I do have some bonuses for you tonight. The first bonus is access to my Nutritional Certainty 365 course, which is going to help you walk through and get really, really clear on master. We talked through this for a little bit today, but the Nutritional Certainty 365 course gives you workbooks and challenges to do every single day to make sure that you're learning master and implementing it effectively. I will also give you access to my Nutrition Quick Start Guide, which has sample meal plans, lots of recipes, basic nutrition guidance to get you started so you have that structure right away. The second bonus is 2 of my favorite personal development books that are going to supplement, build on, and give you language to talk about the things that we're learning in the 4R curriculum. Previous clients told me, Brooke told me she wanted books. She wanted to know more about this stuff and just immerse herself in it. So I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to send you 2 of the books that have been game changers in changing the way that I look at myself and how I've built confidence as a woman, and also how I've processed and thought about food differently. So I'm going to send you The Dark Side of the Light Chasers and she's changed the title a few times, Breaking Free from Emotional Eating by Janine Roth. And these books are so impactful. You will love working through them, and then we can talk about them. It's like a little book club, but you will be able to get started with those immediately, and I will send them your way as soon as we get started. So to recap, you get everything we've already talked about, but you're also going to get access to the Nutritional Certainty course, the Quick Start Guide, and 2 of my favorite personal development books, bringing the value up to over $6,000. So I know you might be thinking, well, Catherine, I don't really need that. I know I can just go to the gym and get a gym membership, and I can start, working out on my own. But we all go to the gym, we work out, all of that, but we don't always know what to do. So of course, we're going to hire a personal trainer. And on average, right, you need to work out 3 times a week to start seeing physical changes. About $100 an hour for a personal trainer, that ends up being $1,200 in workouts. But what about nutrition? Nope. You are not getting any nutrition guidance or support because the gym won't offer that. You'd have to pay extra. You can bet you're not going to be able to text your personal trainer in between sessions if you have a question, if you don't know what you should be eating. You don't have that. So basically, you're spending $1,300 a month for just workouts. Is that actually worth it for you? Is that going to get you the long-term results that you want? Is that going to address any of the stuff that we've talked about, your mindset, your thoughts, your restriction? It's not even going to help you with what you should be eating, let alone the stuff going on up here. Not worth it to me. So let's think about it. What would be a reasonable price for effortlessly consistent, right? You get nutrition coaching, including that jumpstart call, so it's an hour of time with me. You get weekly workouts, which we've already said is basically $1,300 a month because they're customized to you. You're going to get personal coaching on the mindset blocks that are holding you back. You're going to have bi-weekly phone check-ins with me, text access so that you never feel like you have to make a choice by yourself. You're going to get that downloadable curriculum so you can always refer back and know exactly what to do. So would $1,300 a month be reasonable for this? Do you think that that's reasonable compared to everything you'd be paying for $1,300 a month at the gym? And for being on this webinar, right, maybe I'd give you $100 off, and then I would charge the public $1,500 a month because they're getting all this stuff in addition to workouts. But I am not going to charge you that much because I want you to be able to fully invest in yourself, but also still be able to pay your mortgage. So for the 4-month effortlessly consistent whole woman coaching program, it is $1,400, or you can definitely finance that over the course of 4 months, and then it is $377 a month. Less than $400 a month to completely change your life. So remember, you can go to the gym, you can get all that information for $1,300, or you can join Effortlessly Consistent and get info, implementation, and support for $350 a month. So I want to go back and also talk a little bit, because I know I promised that we would go through some bonus stuff, some bonus information, and I wanted to bring us back to why the mindset component is so important when it comes to really changing your fitness and nutrition habits, your life long term. Because consistency, when we go out, download a workout program, find a meal plan on Pinterest, right? We have one thing. We have the perfect ideal that's given to us. But consistency is not being perfect. Consistency is making decisions in line with your specific goals, hour over hour, day over day, week over week. And perfectionism is the big enemy, because perfectionism looks at 100 choices that you make during the day. If you make one wrong choice, you failed. Consistency is the opposite of that. If you're aiming for perfect, 100% of your choices would have to be aligned with your goals. And that's just not realistic. You're probably going to continue waking up feeling like you failed the day before. And that is not what you want, because consistency is the opposite of that. It is saying, I just need to make most choices that are in line with my goals. I need to continually remind myself that the thoughts that I'm having around being perfect is not serving me. So I want you to take this and just remember that this is probably why you've had a tough time making this happen for you in the long term. Because you have been looking at consistency as if it's perfection. So I just want you to take this as a reminder that if mindset stuff's coming up for you, check yourself and figure out what you're measuring yourself against. So I hope that that makes sense, because this is not just nutrition. This is not fitness. This is mindset. This is changing how you're really thinking about things so that eating is effortless, so that you can automate the crap out of the way that you eat. So I hope that that's helpful. And here's the thing. There are 2 types of women who are going to take this information, right? Some women are going to invest. They're going to say, yes, I want this to happen. I am ready to make a change. I am ready to feel good in my skin. I am ready to wake up feeling confident instead of like I failed. And then there are those who are going to take this and try to do it on their own. I have respect for both of those types of women. And I get it, because I was that second type of woman for so long, looking for my workouts on Fitness Blender, looking for nutrition advice on Pinterest. But that's why it took me years, countless hours obsessing, weeks and weeks and weeks of the same pattern. Had I just invested, it would have been so much easier. So what type of woman are you? You might be wondering, right, what am I going to get out of this? Like, you've talked about what you get, you've talked about the calls, but what happens when it's June and you're finishing up Effortlessly Consistent Coaching? Well, you're going to be way more confident in your body and yourself. You're not going to be missing out on life because you lack the confidence to jump in fully. You're going to be rocking that bikini. You're not hiding. You are showing up 100% authentically in your life. You're also going to find ease and peace around your nutrition habits. Your habits will be automated and they're going to work specifically for you, your life, and your preferences. You're also going to have practical strategies to help you recognize where you might be falling short. You're going to get out of that food, fitness, punishment cycle forever. You're going to start accepting your perfectionist tendencies and how to apply them in positive ways so that you're not using perfectionism as a reason to eat the entire plate of cookies. But more than anything, you won't need me anymore unless you just want to chat, because I will always be there and I am your friend throughout this entire process. So again, I talked about Chrissy, and I wanted to just share something that Chrissy had said to me after going through coaching with me one-on-one. She said, after coaching with Catherine, yes, I have seen changes in my body. Chrissy lost, I think, 3 inches around her waist within the first 2 weeks of working with me. But the biggest change has been more in how I see myself. I actually like myself more now. She's also graduated and can sustain this on her own. She doesn't need me anymore, which is so fantastic. And so we've talked about this, right? The information, it's just not enough. How many programs have you bought? I could have made this really, really cheap. I could have made it like a downloadable workbook. I could have made it an e-course, but then I wouldn't have been able to put in the time and the effort to really serve you. You need coaching, you need accountability to make this happen. Because again, if you want information, go get information. You can go get information for $1,300 a month at the gym. You can download all the things on Pinterest, or you can get info, implementation, and support for $350 a month. But again, don't just take this from me. It works for so many women. Marnie worked with me in Consistently Lean and then came into one-on-one coaching with me. So she lost almost 11 pounds and 9 inches across her entire body. She says, I was far from perfect, so it shows that it can really be done. I'm more consciously making food choices, but not feeling restricted or like I'm dieting. Amen. I've been done with coaching for over a year and I can keep it going on my own. When I last checked in with her, she's like, I'm doing great. I'm still following that protein and produce thing. And even when I mess up, I just go back to that. It was so cool to be able to see my clients crushing it on their own. But I have a question for you. How much is your time worth? How much time are you spending thinking about this and obsessing over it? Because when you're doing that, you're not able to live out your best life. You're not able to reach your full potential. You're not being fully present with your family, your friends, your partner. Instead, you're beating yourself up for not being able to sustain this, questioning if you did the best workout to decrease your belly fat. You're researching every option of what the best low-carb dinner would be. This is a lot of mental energy and time that you're not spending on the life that you have been given on this earth. And by going to a gym, getting a personal trainer, buying a downloadable macro plan from Renaissance Periodization, you're not going to be sure. You're not going to be certain. You're going to still be questioning yourself. So when you look back on your life, are you going to be frustrated that you stepped forward, you took that chance, and you invested? Or are you going to be frustrated that you let years pass you by feeling this way? I look back and I wish that I had invested so much sooner, because I know that I would have been able to make these changes faster. And I think I would have been in a very different place than I am now, which is pretty crazy. But again, for being here with me tonight, I do have one extra special, and this is a more personal bonus for you. For being on this webinar, I'm going to send you a brand new journal, because I know for my amazing perfectionists, you're going to want to start fresh with a brand new book, and you're going to want to make it look beautiful. So I'm going to send you one, along with a personal note from me about where I see your life going in the next 4 months. So again, to just recap quickly, you get all of this: 4 months of coaching, the welcome packet, the jumpstart call, bi-weekly coaching calls with me, text and email access. I'm pretty dang available. And all of the curriculum available to you. Plus, you're going to get these bonuses, the Nutrition Quick Start Guide, the Nutritional Certainty 365 course, my favorite personal development books, and the brand new journal, which brings the value up to $6,140, which is crazy. But this is not just working for one person. This is working for so many. I want you to take it from Leah. Leah was working with me, and when I asked what her biggest takeaway was, she said, I loved realizing the need to and learning to look at my eating within context of her life. That was a game changer. I've learned to stop blaming myself for messing up and look at the reasons that I messed up, like not eating enough, not having satisfying foods, or maybe overtraining. I've had a lot of realizations, but this has been the one that has changed my relationship with food and with myself. So remember, you are getting this for $350 a month. You can change the course of your life for $350 a month. So Levy, it is your time now, because obviously you are watching this for a reason. You've been presented with an opportunity, and no longer can you say that you don't know what to do, because I'm telling you exactly what you need to do. I'm going to walk alongside you as you do it and answer every single questions. I'm giving you exactly what you need to build out a better life for yourself, one that is outside of food and exercise. It's absolutely everything. And it will be a life where you are consistent with food and exercise so that you can focus on the things that matter to you. It is everything that you need to completely change your life. So again, I'm sorry I didn't update this slide quick enough, but I actually had another spot taken today. So I only have 2 spots available, and I actually have a chemistry call already booked for another spot that is going to be, I have the chemistry call happening tomorrow. So here's what's coming up next. Because this coaching program is one-on-one, and it's so important to me that it's a good fit, I don't just take your payment. I want to make sure that I know you, and I know your goals, and you know me. You know how I coach, you know how I talk to you, you know the types of questions I ask. So you will need to first sign up for a 30-minute totally free chemistry call. As a bonus, I want to offer you the opportunity as part of this chemistry call to troubleshoot the area that you took down in the workshop portion of today, where you said, this is the thing I really need to work on. We'll troubleshoot that. I'll give you a little taste of how I coach. We'll answer any questions you have about the program, and we'll make sure that we're a good fit. As soon as I send over the contract, you sign it, we get everything ready, I'll send over your additional resources, your books, and your journal your way. We can get started immediately, and I can send you the welcome packet, and we could do our Jumpstart call this weekend. You're not in a group. This is one-on-one, you and me together, so we can get started absolutely immediately. You just need to go to the link in this slide, and it will take you straight to my calendar, so you can book a time. I've also emailed you all the information about the program so you can check it out, review it, and also book that call. So if you are on the fence, if you're not sure, book the call. I'm going to open up signups to folks within my email tribe tomorrow. So once that happens, the spots are going to fill up. So if you are curious, if you want to learn more, let's talk about it. Go to that link, book your call, and let's chat. So again, I am inviting you to learn to thrive, to live your best life totally consistently. You can do that. This is the first step. So go ahead and go to that link and book your call. I cannot wait. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'm going to take a sip of water, and I'm going to close down my slides, which have just been giving us so much trouble, and I'm sorry about that. if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I want to make sure that we can go through any other questions that you have, and we can definitely talk through them. This program is fantastic. I've also had I've had one question before that I wanted to just answer, which was, what if I'm doing another program? What if I'm working on something else right now? Book the call. Let's talk about it. If you want to learn more, if you want to see if this is a good fit, book the call or email me and let's figure out if this is a good option for you. We can push your start date by maximum of 1 month. So if that's something that you're not sure about, then let's definitely talk about it. In case you can't tell, it's just really important for me to be with you where you're at. So ask the questions, let's figure it out, and let's do this together. All right? Thank you so much for your time, for your attention. Let's see if I got any other questions. Oh, thank you, Amy. I'm really excited to have been hanging out with you. Have a great night. For those of you on the East Coast, go to bed. And I will chat with you very, very soon. Have a great night.